Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Judging Nerd Culture. I'm Ollie.
And I'm Jess.
And we're finally, we are talking about Senua.
Yes.
Hellblade, Senua's Revenge.
I always call it just Senua, too. Yes, I finally had the time of day to finish this game. And I really wanted to finish it before we talked about it without, having to watch somebody else finish it. I really just wanted to do it myself because I actually really liked this game.
Yeah, it's very good. It's I don't even want to get too far into it before saying it's just damn good.
Yeah, they even they went so hard on it too. With all the visuals and how they actually made it, using a real actress, a real person to I don't know what they did, that thing where they put the dots on her and
yeah, it was motion capture and
yeah,
whatnot.
that thing.
What's really great about that too is you're right, she's not an actress, she was just a worker there because Ninja Theory at the time, I think right now they're up to 120 something employees. By the time they only had maybe 100, which sounds like a lot, but to make a fucking video game, that's not much of anything.
That's just not.
And they made this beautiful and impressive game because the visuals look great, but also the sound is very interesting and it's all really connected to one another. The gameplay and the audio and the visual, they all are one big mesh that is connected so well that it's ooh, if that's intricate, if that's difficult, if something goes wrong, everything else is pretty fucked.
Yeah, you'd think a game with these type of mechanics might feel not very smooth, it might feel choppy, or it might feel oh, this is really disconnected from each other, the voices that she hears could have become very I don't know, try too hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have become disconnected from Senua, but they always felt like a part of her and a part of you because you were right there with her, basically living inside her head the whole time you played the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it recommends early on, you should definitely play this game with some headphones on. They don't have to be fancy, but the fancier, the better. Because you really start to immerse yourself in the character when you can hear all the things she hears, and not just in the world, but all of the voices. Because there's so many.
Yes. Well, actually, there's not very many voices.
Well, it's mostly just different versions of her voice.
Yes, and then a couple male voices. But when I played the game, I played part of it with headphones, and then my headphones would die, and I'd have to just... Well, I didn't have to. I was lazy, and I didn't feel like charging my headphones and waiting, so I just continued on the game without the headphones. And it is a very different experience. I did feel more both times I was very invested in the game, but when I had the headphones on, I did feel more focused, and everything was more tense and stressful, and I felt more I was actually in that world with her. I was traveling right behind her, watching her fight these people or whatever. Or maybe I was one of the voices in her head. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be definitely an interpretation. I like that, honestly. So, pulling back a little bit, Hellblade Senua's Revenge is a...
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice? Damn it.
I think...
Is that going to be the name of number 2? Because that'd be great.
I don't remember what number 2 is going to be called.
I don't know. But there's...
All I know is that I really want to play it so bad.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure who all watched, but there was, during the Xbox X Series sort of reveal trailers, there was a brief teaser trailer, if you will, for Hellblade 2, and the sound and everything was so amazing. There was a song that was playing by a band that we've heard before, right? That the one with all the weird instruments, interesting ones.
I'm not sure.
Because I'm pretty sure that was them.
As possible. We've gone down a lot of rabbit holes on YouTube with some strange, weird music.
Yeah, but it was so good, and the entire trailer is basically just this like deep guttural like rock noise that's just like bassy and pumping, and slowly zooms in on Senua. She's just angrily breathing, preparing for war or something.
I mean, any sort of like Celtic or any sort of like war music, really. But I mean, she's Celtic, so it's probably more Celtic than anything.
Than not.
But it's I don't know. It's so powerful feeling. It's like, yeah, you know what? I want to go to war too. Like I want to be there. I want to swing a sword.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so that's number 2 is coming, and I'm extremely excited about it.
Yeah, it says here that Senua is just called Senua's Saga, however you want to say it.
It's definitely Saga. Look, we don't agree on alias.
The alias? What's your alias?
Your
alias?
You know, I'm skipping this. We're not having this argument again.
Ollie's alias is Salty Boy. But the Senua 2, Hellblade 2, is going to run on the Unreal Engine 5.
Ooh, that's awesome.
It's confirmed for the Xbox Series X as being like one of the first games to be on that.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be an exclusive, but it also might be on PC.
I really hope so, because that's how I played it. And if I'm not saying I don't want to get the Xbox. I kind of don't want to get the Xbox. And I don't want to miss out on Hellblade 2 just because of that. Like, I don't want to have to buy the new Xbox, just so I can play Hellblade. Will I do it?
Possibly.
Yes. Do I want to?
A hard yes.
No.
But yeah, so anyways, back to Senua. Damn it, back to Hellblade 1.
Yeah. I mean, Senua, it's the same thing.
Same difference. It revolves around Senua. She's the main character, and the general idea given to you in the first like few minutes is you're off to avenge / save / do whatever, appease this horrible feeling in your soul because of a person in your life who has died, whose head you carry, which is unpleasant. But
well, you kind of, yeah.
I mean, eventually, I think you pick it up like a few ways in, right? A few minutes in.
Well, it begins you coming home and seeing your village destroyed.
Right.
Because you had to go on a soul search. You had to go on a walkabout. You were trying to get the main voice in your head, like the darkness or whatever, like this like a very deep guttural voice. He sounds very evil and demonic, but at the same time very comforting, and I don't know why I felt that way. But you tried to get him out of your head because he's kind of negative and nasty and making you feel bad, whatever. You needed to beat this darkness. And you come home after thinking that maybe you've done this and your whole village is destroyed and the love of your life is hanging bits and pieces in front of you. So
yeah, they really fucked up your love interest.
So she had to take him down and chop his head off to then collect his skull to take him to Helheim. Yeah.
And dang it, she did it.
She did it.
She done did it.
The soul's in the head, everybody.
And that's where the rest of the game really lies, is just you getting to hell.
Yeah, you trying to get to Helheim, yeah.
And do whatever it is that you're trying to do. And
beat up Hela and let her have your boyfriend back.
Give him back. Give me back my dilly. And it's real. It seems really simple at first. Like they bring in the mechanics like one at a time, and some areas you only see mechanics for a little bit here and there. But it's basically walk, puzzle, fight. Walk, puzzle, fight. And I'm not saying that as if it's reductive. Like for the pacing of the game, for the way that the game sort of feels, I feel like that's a really good format, so that you can experience the world. There are little pillars everywhere where you can get like lore of actual Norse mythology, and just kind of take it slow and listen and learn, and it's nice. take in the scenery. And then there's the little puzzle bits where you look around and try to find shapes where they don't exist, and see through portals.
But they do exist, Holly.
But they do exist.
They do exist.
And see through portals into the past and the future, and walk through them, and all this interesting little puzzle things. And then eventually you get to some sort of little fight, some kerfuffle. Maybe a boss fight, maybe not. But that's the general rhythm and like pattern of the gameplay. And it really just helps to set a pace and a sort of feeling. Every time you get into a new area, it's like wonder, then search, and then discomfort as you're being attacked.
Mm-hmm. I watched a video on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the person, but they talked about Hellblade and how is mainly like the story and the puzzles, and then they threw in the fighting just to break everything up. Because
it does feel that way sometimes, honestly.
And I didn't have a problem with anything. Like the puzzles at times were kind of tough and sometimes really complicated or confusing if you didn't realize like right away what you were supposed to do or what the method to the puzzle was. Mm-hmm. But I really enjoyed the fighting, actually. I was really like, you're thrown right into it when you start. There's no like, oh, this button does this or L2 blocks. Like you have to figure that out yourself.
Yeah. Which hint? Press the pause button. It's all in the menu.
Yeah, it's all in the menu.
There.
But I don't know. Part of me likes that they didn't tell you because you have to figure it out, and like Senua is figuring everything out too. But then part of me was like, but then how do I beat the bad guys? Like, this is really frustrating. And sometimes I would forget buttons because, as you know, I would play it for a day or two and then abandon it for like a month while I did other things. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
No, it was very good. The fighting itself, the actual combat, is very reminiscent of like any Soulsborne game.
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. With Hellblade specifically, it's more of a like, it's a little more clunkety than some of the Soulsborne games. Like it still flows very nice. It still has a lot of control over the actual slashing and dodging, and it feels like you're purposely making an action, and the action has a very deliberate response, which is kind of the whole point of those Soulsborne combat games. But with Senua, it's a little less like with the Souls games. It always feels like this is what it's for. This is all it's about. With Senua, it's like, oh, this is here, and it's made to look very nice. Like it looks choreographed when you do things almost. But it's also not the focus. Like it's not as polished as other games that do the same thing, and that's fine because the fighting is definitely not the fucking point of the game. But it's very good. I enjoyed the heck out of it. And coming from playing a bunch of those Souls games, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing here. I got this.
There was a lot of dodging, or you eventually have the ability to focus, which is basically just everything kind of slows down and you get a little faster. So kind of like slowing time, I guess, stopping time. But in the fighting, it's a lot of do your best to dodge and then focus and hit.
Yeah. There's also no like UI. It's all like There is? It doesn't have like a life bar. It just gets redder, right?
Yeah. Never mind. It was something else I was thinking of.
Okay. But yeah, there's no UI, and instead it's like the screen gets a little redder, which is a pretty common thing in a lot of games nowadays, especially with shooters, but that's for a whole different reason. But with Hellblade, it also has other little things to let you know you can do stuff again, like she has this charm on her back that glows eventually, letting you know that you've charged up enough to do an attack or do whatever else. And I think that's always really cool. I love when they install like the UI into the character itself, like Dead Space. Love the way they did that. The health bar being on your back and all of the stuff you needed being like contextually inside of the world itself. Way cool. Honestly, the best.
Well, in Hellblade 2, the more or the closer you are to death, the slower and more wounded Senua is. So like the slower you're going to attack and the less effect your attacks are going to have. And I found that if you are temporarily downed and all your voices are like, get up, oh, she can't get up, she's gonna die. If you just really really jam the X button.
Yeah.
Yeah. The X button, you get back up. But you have to do it quickly and aggressively. But with love.
Okay. So I have something that I want to bring up. And this, I guess it might be a little spoilery, so forgive. At the very beginning of the game, they mentioned that if you die enough, the game's over. And like you can even see the darkness that they talk about growing up your arm. You want to know a little secret? That's a lie.
Yeah, I figured because near the end of the game, I had made it to Helheim and I was thrown in, and the darkness had been to my elbow. But when I was thrown into Helheim, it went up to my neck, and I immediately became angry, and I was like, no way, that's not fair. If I die again, like, everything is going to be ruined, blah, blah, blah. But I made it through that part, and I was like, I came out of Helheim, or I came out of wherever area I was in, and it went back down to, like, my elbow, and I was like, wait a minute. Is this just part of the game, or is it a glitch?
Well, I think in Helheim, you're closer to death is the idea.
Yeah.
But no, in general, that whole thing is a lie. I think I remember hearing that the developers mentioned that it was like they made a purposeful lie to give you a sort of paranoia, because the whole point is that the character is, somewhat paranoid about a lot of things, and they wanted to instill that into the players themselves. But they didn't actually want to install that kind of gameplay, because it didn't fit with the story, it didn't fit with the game. So they just fucking lied. And I think that's hilarious. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it adds to the what's real and what's not.
Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, if you didn't know, you don't actually have to worry about it. I died so much. Before I even got to the 3 trials, the fucking darkness was up to my shoulder. Yeah, I'm so bad. In my defense, I had it on auto scaling for the difficulty. So like I would breeze through some fights and then the next one would just tear me apart.
Yeah. When it comes to Hellblade, the fighting is not the most important part. Like, it's fun and it can be important, but it's not the most important thing. So if you have it on easy, don't feel bad and don't think, oh no, I'm not a real gamer, man. Or like, don't think you're a loser, but like, it's not fine.
Yeah, like, it doesn't change anything in the game.
It's not part of the story. And unless you want to make it horrible for yourself, then go for it. But it just makes the fighting more grueling because it takes more hits for them to die. It doesn't, like Ali said, it doesn't change anything. No.
You get everything, you get all of the same ending nonsense. Everything stays the same. So yeah, don't set it on auto difficulty. It will shift a little more drastically than I expected.
Like in other games, the difficulty might matter, like unlocking things or achievements or something.
Yeah, there's
none of that. With this game, there's no achievements really. So
yeah. At least none for connected to difficulty or anything like that. It's all progress based pretty much. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Definitely play it on like a set difficulty. How did you like the portrayal of Senua's
darkness?
Yeah, because a big part of this game, which caused a bit of controversy for a while, was that it depicts Senua as having like being a paranoid schizophrenic or something along those lines. I'm by no means an expert in psychology, so I can't diagnose or say what it is or what it isn't. But that was the intention, was it for it to appear this way? And I was, when this first came out and I was really interested in it, I looked up a bunch of things about it and a bunch of people's opinions and this and that, and there was a lot of people from both sides of the argument, like, yeah, that's not okay to sort of depict this as like a ability or a power or whatever.
But it really wasn't. It didn't give her any superpowers.
True, but they argued that like at some points it's like, you listen to it and it tells you what's going on and you can use that to your advantage and this and that. And then other people argued like, no, it's showing a character who has some sort of differently cognitive mental state and learning to exist like someone else does using that same set of cognitive abilities. Like assuming that the voices in her head are just her. She sees a thing, doesn't process it, the voices process it for her, and then tell her what's going on, and she can interact that way. And that's the camp that I personally went to. I found that to be a little more, I don't know, emotionally resonant for me because it felt more true to what I was playing. And also the idea of just seeing more disabilities, or I'm not even sure that's the name for those things anymore, in games, I think is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think you asked me a question there.
I did ask you a question, and I don't know where the question went because I just
It was in the beginning, but then you kept talking, and then you ended your sentence.
I did.
With a statement. You asked yourself the question, and then answered it, and now we're moving on.
I asked myself a question. I'm the worst. I'm sorry. But no, what did you think? Did you appreciate the portrayal of it?
Well, I'm not paranoid schizophrenic. so I don't know how somebody who is a paranoid schizophrenic might feel about the game. Personally, I don't know if this is like a naive or like a crappy way to view the game, but I viewed it more as like true, like as the stuff that she was going through being true. Like I didn't view it as like a mental illness or a disability or anything. Like I viewed it as, no, those runes are actually hidden in the weeds, or her mom, like she's actually seeing her dead mother talk to her through this stone. Like she's actually seeing these things are really happening, but she sees them and nobody else does, maybe because you don't interact with anybody else, any other humans in the game, but I'm assuming she's the only one who can see them, because everybody, calls her basically a freak and like, you're bad, you're evil, you're full of darkness, whatever. So I'm assuming she's the only one who can see and hear these things. I don't know, like most of me this is a magical, like mythological journey story. With, obviously, yes, the metaphors and the whatever else. But I don't know, as I was playing the game, I like to think that all of these things were real and not due to some mental disorder. And, like, mental disorders are real. I don't know where I'm going with this. Well...
Well, it could definitely be a mix of things. It could be a little bit of both. Some of the magic and the mythology definitely could have occurred, could have happened, but it could also be that she only saw these things because of the schizophrenia or whatever, leading her towards it, or allowing her to see things a little differently, or like that was hell, that was whatever, and she interacted with it, and that's fine. But while she was interacting with them, this part of her helped her through that in some way, shape, or form. So it could definitely be a little bit of both. It doesn't have to exclusively be she made it all up in her head, or it's all magic. It could be a nice zone in the middle. As I'm sure you can tell by this point, it's been 30 minutes of pretty much just nice things that we've said. It's a very good game, and we think pretty much everyone should play it. I'm a 10 out of 10er for me, especially the fact that it was a small development team, and it's a brief but important story. Like, it's an 8-hour game, but it just tells you everything you need. It's very focused, and it knows what it wants to be. So, like, for me, that's wonderful. That's perfect. Like, maybe it's not perfect in a lot of ways, but none of it detracted from what I wanted. And what I wanted was an amazing story. So that's where I stand.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it was really well made. I think the environments were really beautiful, and I think the way they used the audio in the game really made you feel whatever Senua was feeling, and I don't think it means any harm towards anybody who might have paranoid schizophrenia. I think it was just a unique take on it, because there are people, in like history who have had mental illnesses, and people have called them, many names, like priestesses and prophets and, medicine man and whatever, because they can talk to the trees. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a thing that they've incorporated into Senua. And at the end of Senua, they give a nod towards people who do have mental illness, which I thought was really cool, because it was like they were saying, hey, we made this game to not like make fun of, but to like maybe even empower people who do have this. And I think Senua was a very powerful character. She went through a lot of ups and downs, but in the end she was a really strong character, and she was very courageous, and I thought she was really cool. And I like that they had bits and pieces of actual Norse mythology. That was really fun. I didn't collect them all, so in the end, when the gate lit up, there were some red marks instead of all of the runes being bright white, which was annoying. But and that's just a collector, I guess, in me. But yeah, I 10 out of 10, I would recommend this game. I think people should go play it. I've heard you should play it in one go, but it is like an 8-hour game.
It's a solid 8.
I feel like you could do it and chop it up a little bit if you want.
Yeah, it might be a 6-hour game for some people, but it was an 8-hour one for us.
Yes. So, yeah, go play Hellblade. We are definitely looking forward to Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, I believe.
Yeah. If you do play, remember to listen to the voices.
Yes, listen to the voices. They are important. They're there to help you. They are there to distract you. They maybe are there to ruin you. But listen to the voices.
All right. Well, that's all I got. All right. Well, then we'll see you guys next time. And thanks for watching and all that. I know this is a pretty late video that we haven't done anything in a little while. There's been a lot of life changes, new jobs,
and world changes.
We went to a protest and whatnot. There was all sorts of shit that went down, and like there was just,
well, the way you make it sound is that we went to a protest, stuff went down, and things got bad. Nothing happened.
Things were bad, so we went to a protest.
We want to make a note. The protest was actually very peaceful. Nobody did anything bad. Okay. We are just busy with trying to keep up with everything in the world, COVID, and Ali has a new job, and we are going to be moving soon, so we have a lot on our plate.
Yeah, and it's been an interesting couple weeks, a month, or however long at this point. So we haven't really had the chance to do this in a while, but we finally got back together.
Do you think uploading schedule will change once your this job takes off a little more and your schedule changes?
I don't think so. I think I might be able to still keep pushing out on Fridays, but if anything changes, you'll hear it here. So thanks again for listening. We really appreciate you 15 to 25 people.
Let's be realistic. You 1 to 5 people.
Hey, I look at the numbers. It's 15 to 20. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for listening. And play Senua, Hellblade. Play Hellblade Senua Sacrifice.
Play Senua Hellblade Sacrifice.
Also, let us know what your thoughts are on all of this. The game, the world events if you want. And your opinions on the whole mental illness in the video game itself,
or in video games in general.
Yeah, and it would be a lovely discussion to have, and we'll have it with anyone. So
well, Ollie will have it with anyone.
I'll have it.
He likes to talk, as you know. He has a podcast.
This is true. We started a podcast just so I can talk about stuff I like. Ooh. So, anyways, that's it. I've been trying to end this for the past 10 minutes because I'm bad at not talking anymore. So I'm done. Bye.